There are two types of people in this world. Those who use their time to buy money and those who use their money to buy time. One lives by the hour, trading it away, one block at a time for dollars. The other lives by leverage, multiplying results with minimal effort. And the difference between the two? It's not intelligence. It's not education. It's philosophy. It's how they think about money. You see, most people will work hard for 30, 40, even 50 years and still end up broke. Not because they weren't willing to labor, not because they weren't good people, but because they never learned the second half of the wealth equation, how to make money work for them. Let me say that again. Making money is half the story. Making money work is the other half. And that's the half most people never study. When money doesn't have a job, it wanders off. It slips through your fingers. It buys trinkets. It gets lost in subscriptions. It goes to someone else's dreams. And one day, when you need it most, it's gone. No pension, no cash flow, no backup. Just an empty bank account and a lifetime of effort that never turned into freedom. And here's the bitter truth. If you don't give your money a job, one day you'll be the one without one. The future doesn't reward effort alone. It rewards strategy. So today I want to challenge the old belief, that old voice that says, if I just work hard enough, everything will work out. No, my friend, you must do better than work hard. You must work smart. You must train your dollars to go out and bring back more. You must create systems where your money is busy even when you are not. Think of every dollar as an employee. Is it working? Is it growing? Or is it lying around, unemployed, wasting away in impulse purchases? The rich don't work for money. They let money work for them. And if they fail, their money still wakes up and reports for duty. But the poor trade their health, their peace, and their time for temporary income. And by the time they realize it, it's too late to pivot. So, the question today isn't just how much money are you making? That's not enough. The real question is, what is your money doing after you make it? Because wealth isn't built by labor, it's built by leverage. And until you learn how to multiply what you earn, you'll always be one emergency away from starting over. Let's change that. Starting today, I used to tell people, if you're always last on your own list, don't be surprised when your future ends up broke. See, the habit of paying yourself first is one of the greatest financial disciplines anyone can build, but it's also one of the most neglected. Most folks, when they get paid, what do? They start spending. The rent, the bills, the groceries, the entertainment, the wants, the surprises, and if anything is left over, maybe they'll save a little. But that's backwards. That's poverty thinking dressed up in a paycheck. The wealthy operate from a different mindset. Before they even touch the first dollar of income, they make sure a portion of it is reserved for their future. Not after everything's been spent. Before. Always. It's not optional. It's not negotiable. It's not something they try to do. It's automatic, just like paying the electric bill. Why? Because they understand that if you don't pay yourself first, no one else will ever do it for you. Years ago, I made a rule for myself. 10% of everything I earn is mine to keep. Not to spend, to keep, to grow, to invest. It was a small number at first, but the principle wasn't about the amount, it was about the habit. That 10% was sacred. Over time, that 10% became 15, then 20. And it didn't hurt me to live on the rest. In fact, it sharpened my creativity. It made me more intentional. Because when you prioritize your future, you start trimming away the unnecessary. You begin spending with purpose instead of impulse. Now, I've had people say, Jim, I can't afford to save right now. I've got too many bills. And I'd always respond, you can't afford not to, because bills never stop coming. Emergencies never schedule themselves. But wealth is built when you learn to get ahead of life instead of chasing it. You don't wait until the money feels abundant. You decide that no matter what, a portion belongs to your future. You make the decision once, then automate it. One of the simplest ways to apply this is to set up automatic transfers. The moment your paycheck arrives, before your hands even touch it, 10 to 20% should move into a savings account, an investment account, or wherever your wealth plan is rooted. Don't leave it to chance. Don't trust willpower. Build a system that's smarter than your mood. And here's the key. Never break the rule. Not for a birthday, not for a vacation, not because the car needs new tires. If you touch the pay yourself first money, you've broken the trust between you and your future. Think of it as hiring money to work for you. You wouldn't spend your best employee's wages on pizza and gadgets, would you? So don't do it to yourself. When you pay yourself first, you're buying freedom. You're hiring money to produce more money so one day it works and you don't have to. Now, I know this sounds simple, and it is. But simple things are often the hardest to stick with because they don't bring a quick thrill. They bring slow, steady strength. And that's what wealth really is, a slow accumulation of good decisions made over time. This is one of those decisions. If you want your future to pay you handsomely, start by paying yourself faithfully. I used to say, depending on only one source of income is like building your financial house on one shaky leg. It might stand for a while, but the moment the wind blows, everything crashes. That's not security. That's vulnerability in disguise. You see, the poor and middle class often live paycheck to paycheck, hoping the job stays steady, the boss stays happy, and the market stays friendly. But the wealthy? They build a system of streams, rivers of income, flowing from multiple directions, so if one dries up, the others still nourish the financial soil. Now let me be clear, you don't need 10 streams overnight. You just need to start thinking differently. Instead of saying, this job is all I have, begin asking, what else can I create? What else can I offer? How can I make my value move in more directions than just one? That's the start of multiplying income. I remember when I was still working as a distributor, the business was growing, but I realized I was still tied to a single vehicle. I thought, what happens if the company changes or the market shifts? So I took the skills I was learning, speaking, training, teaching, and I began to package those into seminars, then into recordings, then into books. What started as one income stream became 4. Not because I worked harder, but because I worked smarter. I leveraged my knowledge. That's the next key, leverage. You can only trade hours for dollars for so long. Time is fixed. Energy is limited. But when you build something once that pays you over and over, you break the rules of time. You create income that shows up while you sleep, travel, or build the next thing. That's how wealth accelerates. So here's a simple exercise. List 5 skills you've got. Don't overthink it. Maybe you're great at writing, organizing, fixing things, teaching, or connecting people. Then ask, how could I turn this into a product, a service, or a digital asset? Could you teach what you know? Consult others? Rent something you own? Sell a digital product? There's something inside you right now that someone out there would pay to learn or access. Don't let it sit idle. And I always say, make it a goal to create at least one new income stream every year. Doesn't have to be big at first. Just needs to exist. Because once you build it, it can grow. You may start by tutoring one student, then launch a course that reaches hundreds. You might rent out a room, then turn it into a property business. Small doors lead to big hallways, but they only open when you knock. Don't let the comfort of a steady paycheck become a cage. That paycheck should be a platform, not a prison. Use it to fund your next idea, invest in your next skill, or test your next product. Build multiple ladders so if one fails, you're not stuck at the bottom again. Wealth isn't built on chance, it's built on choice. And choosing to multiply your income streams is one of the smartest choices you can make. I often say if you don't know where your money's going, it's probably already gone. Wealthy people don't leave their finances to chance. They don't rely on hope or assumptions. They measure. They track. They inspect. Because what gets measured gets better. And what gets ignored? It quietly erodes your wealth until one day you're wondering why you're working so hard and still running in place. I learned early in my journey that treating personal finances like a business was a game changer. Think about it. A business that doesn't track its income, expenses, and profits goes bankrupt. So why should it be any different for your personal life? If your life is your business, then your bank account is your financial statement. And it's talking to you if you'll just listen. I remember sitting down one evening with nothing but a notebook, a calculator, and all my bills spread across the table. It wasn't fun. It wasn't glamorous, but it was necessary. I realized I had leaks in my financial bucket. Small ones, a few dollars here, a few more there. Things I justified as not a big deal. But together, they were costing me the capital I could have invested into books, seminars, tools, the very things that would grow me. And that lesson stuck. If you don't control the small, you'll never be trusted with the big. Start simple. Track every dollar. Yes, every dollar. Know what you earn, what you spend, and what you save. Then categorize your spending into 3 clear buckets. First, essentials things that sustain life and allow you to function. Second, growth books, courses, tools that build your mind or income. Third, waste anything that gives you temporary comfort but no long-term return. Be honest with yourself. Most people hide from this exercise because it reveals the truth, but that's the only way transformation begins. Once you see where your money is going, you can begin to tell it where to go. That's the secret. The wealthy don't just earn more, they direct better. They don't let lifestyle creep eat their margin. Instead, they take the savings from cutting waste and put it to work in investments, in businesses, in skills that multiply. Every dollar saved isn't just saved, it's reassigned. It gets a job. It gets to work. Because idle money eventually disappears. Active money compounds. I encourage people to sit down once a week. Sunday evening is a great time, and review their money. Not with stress, but with strategy. Ask, what did I spend? What did I learn? What could I redirect? This one habit alone can make the difference between staying broke and building wealth. Because it shifts you from being reactive to proactive, from wondering to deciding. And here's the beauty of it. You don't have to be rich to start tracking like the rich. You just have to be committed. You just have to respect money enough to manage it well. When you do, it starts respecting you back. It starts sticking around. It starts multiplying, because money loves clarity. And clarity starts with tracking. If you want to grow your wealth, measure your money and do it like your future depends on it, because it does. I've often said that time is more valuable than money. You can always get more money, but you can't get more time. Yet strangely, it's the one thing most people waste while waiting for everything to be perfect. They say, I'll start saving when I make more, or I'll invest when I understand it better. And in that waiting, they delay the very process that builds wealth compounding. Let me tell you something critical. Wealth is not just about effort. It's about timing. And the best time to begin is not when you're ready, it's when you're willing. The wealthy don't ask, how much can I afford? They ask, how early can I begin? They understand a powerful truth, that money doesn't grow because of movement. It grows because of time. Let's talk about a simple example. If you were to invest just $100 a month starting at age 25, with average compound returns of 8%, by the time you hit 65, you'd have over $300,000. But if you waited just 10 years and started at 35, you'd only have half that. That's the silent cost of delay. Not missing a few bucks here and there, but missing years that your money could have been working while you slept. I remember meeting a young man at one of my seminars who said, I'm only 21, I don't have much to save. I said, that's exactly why you must start. Not because you have a lot, but because you have time. And I helped him open his first investment account with just $50. That wasn't a small investment, it was a massive one, because he planted early. And a seed planted early doesn't just grow, it multiplies. You see, most people are trained to believe that they should wait until they've figured it all out. But by the time they think they're ready, life has handed them bills, setbacks, and obligations. The moment to act is no longer convenient, and so it gets delayed again. But the wealthy think differently. They understand that imperfect action now beats perfect action never. They begin with what they have, they grow as they go, and they learn through experience. So here's how to start, even if you think it's too little. Take a small percentage of your income, even just $10, and put it in an account that compounds. That could be a high-yield savings account, a brokerage account, or an investment platform. Automate it. Treat it like rent. Don't touch it. Then every year raise it. Make it grow as you grow. You're not just building money, you're building the habit of building wealth. And that habit over time becomes unstoppable. And set your sights far ahead. Think in decades, not days. That's how the rich do it. They don't panic over daily fluctuations. They plant long-term trees and water them with consistency. And when everyone else is scrambling for quick returns, they're sitting under the shade of financial freedom because they had the discipline to begin when it wasn't urgent. The lesson is simple. Time rewards the bold, not the perfect. If you want to become wealthy, start using time today not to delay, but to compound. I've always said, ignorance is not bliss, it's poverty. And nowhere is that more true than in the language of money. You see, most people live intimidated by the world of finance because no one ever taught them how it works. They avoid the stock market, avoid conversations about investments, avoid asking about taxes or assets, not because they don't care, but because they feel out of their depth. But here's the truth. You will always fear what you don't understand. And what you fear, you avoid. And what you avoid, you can never master. The wealthy, they speak a different language. Not because they were born speaking it, but because they chose to learn it. Words like equity, compounding, liquidity, cash flow, net worth. Those aren't just jargon. They're tools. They're levers. They represent concepts that help them make sharper decisions, spot better opportunities, and avoid costly mistakes. The financially illiterate pay the price of confusion. The financially educated earn the reward of clarity. I remember when I first heard the word ROI. I had no idea what it meant. It sounded technical, complicated, almost threatening. And like most people, my instinct was to ignore it. But someone challenged me, look it up, understand it, then apply it. So I did. I realized it simply meant return on investment. A basic idea, what you get back compared to what you put in. Once I understood that, it reshaped how I spent money, how I evaluated time, and how I approached every opportunity. I began to ask, what's the ROI of this book? This course? This business decision? And my outcome started changing. Not because I was smarter, but because I was finally speaking the language of wealth. So here's how you start. Take 15 minutes a day and dedicate it to financial vocabulary. Just 10 pages of a good financial book. Or one YouTube video that explains a concept you don't yet grasp. Pick one term, say, asset, and study it. What is it? How does it work? Why does it matter? Then move on to liability, then interest, then capital gains. Brick by brick, build your financial understanding like a new language. Because that's exactly what it is, a language. And like any language, fluency comes with daily use. And don't just learn it, use it. Speak it in your conversations. Ask questions using the terms. Say things like, what's the equity in this? Or, how's the cash flow? Practice makes permanent. And when you make the language of money a part of your daily life, something powerful happens. Decisions get easier. Fear fades. Confidence grows. And with confidence comes better choices, which lead to better results. And here's something most people miss. Financial vocabulary doesn't just help you in business. It helps you in life. You'll negotiate better deals, understand your mortgage, choose smarter insurance, plan your taxes, spot scams faster. It's not just about growing money, it's about protecting it, multiplying it, and using it to design the life you want. The reason most people stay broke isn't because they lack opportunity, it's because they lack language. And that language is available to anyone who's willing to learn. Start where you are. Use what you have. Learn one new word a day, one idea a week. And before long, you won't just understand money, you'll control it. Speak the language of wealth until wealth starts answering back. When it comes to building lasting wealth, one of the most important lessons is this: emotion is the enemy of money. Let me explain what I mean. You see, most people try to manage their finances with willpower. They say, I'll save this month if I can resist buying that new gadget. Or I'll invest if I'm feeling confident. But feelings fluctuate. One day you feel disciplined. The next day you're tempted. One month you're focused. The next distracted. And this emotional roller coaster keeps many stuck in a cycle of inconsistent results. The wealthy understand a deeper truth. Willpower is a limited resource, but systems are enduring. They don't rely on their mood or motivation. Instead, they create structures, habits, and automated processes that manage their money without debate or delay. This isn't about removing human control. It's about removing human error. Think of it this way. If you had to decide what to eat for dinner every night, you might waste hours or make unhealthy choices because of hunger or cravings. But if you create a meal plan, buy the groceries ahead, and prepare meals in advance, you free your mind to focus on other things. Money works the same way. When you automate saving and investing, you remove the need to decide every time, cutting out the temptation to spend impulsively. Let me share from my own experience. Early in my career, I had moments when I thought, maybe I'll skip this month's savings. I deserve a break. But when I set up automatic transfers from my paycheck, a certain percentage going directly into savings and investments before I saw the money, those thoughts didn't stand a chance. The system was doing the work. My discipline no longer had to be perfect because the system carried me through. Here's how you can do the same. Start by automating your paycheck so it's split between at least 3 accounts: spending, saving, and investing. You decide the percentages, but once set, stick to them. Set recurring transfers so the money moves before you even see it in your checking account. This way, you don't have to choose every month or fight emotional urges. You build wealth quietly, consistently, and without stress. Tracking is also a part of this system. Use apps or simple spreadsheets to monitor where your money goes. But don't let tracking turn into emotional judging. Instead, use it as feedback to adjust your system, not to beat yourself up. Emotional budgeting, trying to decide what you feel like, saving or spending, is a recipe for financial chaos. Replace it with systemized discipline. When the system runs, your money works hard on your behalf, and your emotions don't sabotage your future. Remember, the greatest financial freedom comes when your money moves automatically towards your goals and you don't have to think twice about it. Set the system once, trust it, and watch how it turns small, consistent actions into lasting wealth. Systems remove emotion. Systems build fortune. Let your systems lead the way. Most people spend their money to feel rich in the moment. They buy the latest gadgets, fancy clothes, or a flashy carol, things that make them feel successful, even if only temporarily. This kind of thinking leads to consumption, a cycle where money flows out faster than it comes in. It's a trap that keeps many trapped in financial mediocrity. But the wealthy think differently. They don't just consume, they create. They use their resources to build income streams, to invest in opportunities that will multiply their money over time. This shift from consumption to creation is one of the most powerful mental switches you can make on your journey to wealth. It's not about deprivation or never enjoying life. It's about prioritizing your spending in a way that serves your long-term prosperity. The key question they ask before every purchase is, will this asset appreciate, depreciate, or produce income? If the answer is depreciate, they reconsider. If it's produce, they lean in, knowing they are planting seeds for future harvest. Let me share a personal story. Early in my career, I was tempted by flashy things. I wanted to look successful, to keep up with peers who had more money than me. But I learned quickly that these purchases drained my resources and limited my ability to invest in myself and my business. One day, I started asking myself the simple question before every spend: Is this going to put money back in my pocket or just take it out? That question changed everything. It helped me delay gratification and instead put money toward books, courses, and small investments that eventually created streams of income. So here's a practical step. Before every purchase, pause and ask, will this asset appreciate, depreciate, or produce income? If it's a depreciating asset like a new car or the latest smartphone, consider waiting or saving that money for something that creates value. Delay gratification, even if it's uncomfortable at first. Use the money you save to start a side project, buy stocks or real estate, or develop a skill that increases your earning power. Creation isn't just about physical assets either. It's about building ideas, products, services, anything that puts money to work for you rather than against you. This mindset separates those who stay stuck consuming from those who build lasting wealth. Remember, consumption feeds feelings for a moment, but creation builds a legacy. Choose to create, and your money will start to serve you in ways you never imagined. There is an old saying, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Your circle influences your habits, your mindset, and ultimately your financial destiny. If you find yourself surrounded by people who complain about money, focus on spending rather than earning, or live for entertainment without thinking about growth, it's no surprise that you may feel stuck or limited. The company you keep can either sharpen your vision or dull your ambition. The wealthy understand this principle deeply. They surround themselves with money-minded mentors, people who think beyond paychecks and talk about investments, businesses, and legacies. Their conversations are about how to grow, how to innovate, and how to build wealth that lasts for generations. It's not about arrogance or exclusivity. It's about creating an environment that pushes you upward, challenges your thinking, and expands your possibilities. I remember early in my life when I made the decision to seek out mentors. I didn't have all the answers, but I had the hunger to learn. I spent time with people who were not only successful, but also generous with their wisdom. I listened more than I talked. I took notes, asked questions, and then applied what I learned. This association changed everything for me. It gave me insights into wealth creation that I could not have found on my own. Here's how you can do the same. Find a mastermind group, a collection of like-minded individuals who meet regularly to share ideas, hold each other accountable, and push toward success. Seek out a mentor who has walked the path you want to take, someone willing to guide you through the mistakes and triumphs. Don't underestimate the power of reading biographies of wealthy entrepreneurs or attending business and finance seminars. The knowledge you gain and the people you meet at these events become your unseen assets. Remember, proximity to wisdom is acceleration to wealth. It's like tuning your mind to a higher frequency where new ideas, opportunities, and possibilities start to flow naturally. If you want to break the cycle of scarcity thinking, start by changing your company. Your future will thank you for it. As we come to the close of this conversation, remember this. Wealth is not just about money. It's about the mindset, the habits, and the company you keep. You cannot rise above your environment without intentionally choosing to surround yourself with those who challenge, inspire, and elevate you. Success is contagious, and so is failure. The people around you will either pull you forward or hold you back. So here's your call to action. Take a hard look at your inner circle. Are they building wealth? Are they learning and growing? If not, it's time to make a change. Seek out mentors, join mastermind groups, read voraciously, and put yourself in rooms where ambition and wisdom abound. Don't wait for wealth to find you. Position yourself to be found by it. This step alone can transform your financial future. Because when you surround yourself with money-minded mentors, your thinking shifts, your actions change, and your results improve. Your journey to lasting wealth begins with the company you keep. Choose wisely and watch your life unfold in ways you once only dreamed possible. Take action now. Your legacy depends on it.